Oh, all right, this is gonna be dope, man. Like, I feel really good about this right now. Dyslexic brains process information completely differently than neurotypical brains. Because of those differences, we have some big challenges when it comes to fine, detailed, oriented tasks like reading and writing. But those same brain differences create incredible abilities and dyslexia-specific cognitive advantages. There are 4 main cognitive advantages of the dyslexic brain. Collectively, these 4 cognitive advantages are called the dyslexic mind strengths. M is for material reasoning, I, which is for interconnected reasoning, N is for narrative reasoning, and D is for dynamic reasoning. I created a quiz so you can find out which of the 4 dyslexic strengths you have. The link is in the description below. Click on it, take the quiz, and find out your dyslexic advantage right now. Hi friends, my name is Nishantha. I am a dyslexia coach and teacher. I work here out of Southern California. On this channel, we explore the tools and strategies that help us become better dyslexics. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the 4 dyslexic advantages and then explain the reason why dyslexic brains have these amazing cognitive abilities. Let's finish this part up, but I think it's like legit or something. It's like bright already. So in this part, I'm gonna quickly go through the 4 dyslexic advantages. The next 4 videos I upload onto this channel will be very specific to each of these 4 dyslexic advantages. So this is just a quick overview. So the first one is called material reasoning. And material reasoning is kind of like having this really cool 3D software inside our heads where we can kind of upload different 3-dimensional assets and even create 3-dimensional assets like right inside our head and manipulate those 3-dimensional objects, combine those objects with other objects to create certain things that don't even exist in the real world yet. And this is the ability to really have 3D spatial awareness and ability to kind of manipulate that to create new things that neurotypical brains certainly have a hard time doing. So the second dyslexic strength is called interconnected reasoning. And interconnected reasoning is my strongest dyslexic advantage. And basically this is the ability that dyslexics have to be able to connect certain ideas and concepts and find relationships between things that neurotypical brains have a hard time finding. And interconnected reasoning is really cool because it's the ability to see connections between things that normal people are not able to see. And using this ability, you're able to come up with ideas, new ways of doing things, creating new types of businesses, new types of relationships, new types of ideas that hasn't really been put together before. So this is like really cool for inventing like the future or inventing things and solving problems in a really unique way. And I love having interconnected reasoning abilities, and we're gonna go really deep into this one in a video that's gonna be coming up on this channel. It's gonna be the second video that's gonna be coming up. Guys. All right, so the third dyslexic advantage is called narrative reasoning. And narrative reasoning is really cool because it gives certain abilities to dyslexics that give them command over episodic memories. And episodic memories are really cool because you can use certain memories to construct certain scenarios that hasn't happened yet. So you can use those scenarios to solve problems, predict the future, and answer questions that you can't normally answer in the real world because you don't have the resources. You can kind of use episodic memory to substitute for those resources to kind of solve these problems. I'll go much deeper into narrative reasoning and episodic memory in another video. It's really fascinating and really interesting. The last dyslexic advantage is called dynamic reasoning. Dynamic reasoning is really cool because it combines material reasoning, interconnected reasoning, and narrative reasoning, and it gives dyslexics with this ability a really strong ability to find trends and signals in the noise of the world, noise of what's happening. It also allows people with really strong D strengths or dynamic reasoning abilities to predict the future and make guesses on what's going to be happening. Dynamic reasoning is really cool because people who have really strong dynamic reasoning abilities have kind of like this secret access to information that like neurotypical people certainly don't have, because they can see trends, they can see patterns, they can see problems before they exist in the world. So they can come up with solutions, they can solve these problems, they can figure out certain things before like the world as a whole kind of knows about it. And this gives them a huge advantage when it comes to entrepreneurship because they can kind of predict the future. So these are the 4 different dyslexic advantages. So the reason why dyslexics have access to these abilities is the same reason why dyslexics have a hard time reading and writing. It has to do with how our brains are wired. So dyslexic brains like to do what I call network thinking, where they're using more brain regions, they're making bigger circuits when they're processing information, whereas in neurotypical brain, they're creating smaller but more efficient circuits. So dyslexic brains create these bigger networks to process information, but these networks are often very inefficient. So they're very creative, they are very like big picture thinking type of processing, whereas neurotypical brains, they do what's fine detail processing, where they're able to focus in on a very fine detail oriented task like reading and solve that really quickly. Whereas a dyslexic brain, they don't do that as much. Our brains tend to create these big circuits that involve all different types of brain areas, sometimes that are not even related to like the specific task. So if you're doing something about reading, there might be a circuit that involves like hearing or feeling or memories that's not necessarily involved when a neurotypical brain is doing that task. So because of these reasons, there are advantages and disadvantages. So the next 4 videos that I'm going to be putting on this channel is going to go much deeper into these 4 dyslexic advantages, M, I, N, and D. Yeah, hope you guys like it. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Make sure you take the quiz so you guys know which dyslexic advantage you have, so you can kind of lean into it and kind of figure out how to navigate the world with this awesome, super intelligent superpower that you guys are, gifted with. All right, guys, I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody. Love ya.